Hey, good afternoon. I'm Brian Fogarty. I'm from Escondido, California, originally from New Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Served in the United States Marine Corps for 26 years. I got 3 combat deployments and several other. And I'm out here now with USMC Racing in Houston, Texas, having a good time. This is my first time racing on a track. I've done some Baja, Vegas, the Reno, Mint 400s in the vintage class, Volkswagen Bug, dirt, obviously desert, but never on a track like this before. I actually have a very good friend here that I served with, and I was at his retirement earlier in the year, who I didn't know was even going to be here. So it's connected old friends too.
So we just got done with tech. They classify all the cars in 3 classes, A, B, and C. A is you have a prayer of winning, B is you have a prayer of finishing, and C is you do not have a prayer of finishing. Wild Boar got A class with 0 penalty laps, and Ladder 3 and Chesty got B with 0, which is fantastic. But our orange Cheaty Stang that came with us got A with 50. So they're in for a war to hurt for sure. So they're going to start the race 50 laps behind everybody else. So could be worse. That dang Z over there is going to get 100 for sure.
We'll do it once we get out, and that's your negotiation for the second race with this car to get into the 10s.
Okay, that's fair.
So
that's an invite.
That's an invite. It's your first race with this car. Yes. Let us be jerks, and then we'll make it up to you at the next one. Okay.
It's not hard, is it?
Because I'm going after that Z with a fever that they have not yet anticipated. Oh, they're gonna go. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're gonna go. What'd you give that Mustang? Oh, we gave them 50. We like them.
What are you guys doing?
What do you want?
Tell us what you're doing.
We're putting the hood pin back on because it fell off.
Oh, here's the.
Is there another washer?
Right here.
Yeah.
Because it fell off and we failed tech. We don't have a secure.
Wouldn't there have been a better time to do this?
Right,
We just discovered
it. Also, no, because it's 24 hours of lemons.
True story.
Wow. I can't believe they gave you 50 laps.
Well, so the last race we had there was 3 or 4 cars that got 100.
100?
100 penalty laps.
Dude, they are not dicking around anymore.
My name is Lane Patterson. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I serve in the United States Army as an infantryman. I was finishing up school, and 4 of my buddies had bought a race car, and I was super serious about it, along with funneling money into it. And within 2 months, everyone had bailed. And so I realized I needed a team, and I looked on Lemons, and they happened to be racing for NOLA, and so I hit them up, and within like 6 hours I was going to race with them. So I've done MSR twice, Road Atlanta, Circuit of America, Denver, NOLA, and I think that's it. I think 6. I think it's great. It's a good place for everyone to come and feel at home again. I thoroughly enjoy it. I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't love it and didn't think we were doing good work.
And here we are now hours into the standoff. And as you guys can see, they have taken apart every single piece of this tent, put it back together, what appears to be in color and order. Now what we're looking for is an update. Obviously, you guys can see these guys are sweating. It is profuse, it is hot out here. They have never worked this hard. Ryan! Yes. Ryan, can I get you over here? What? Can I get you over here, sir? While they're erecting this tent here, can you give us an update about what is going on in the background?
What is going on? Well, so what happened was, we had some people who were probably colorblind or stupid, or they were Marines, which is likely for all 3.
Right, so they were probably allowed in the service.
They were probably allowed in the service as that waiver, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Spelled color with a K with a couple of U's, probably.
Absolutely.
The spray paint in the manner in which it was supposed to be easier for us to assemble.
I don't believe that worked out. Now I have a question. In the court, I know that you guys are used to using crayons. Was it an officer that spray painted? Is that the rank structure?
No, it was a enlisted guy.
Required for spray painting?
Probably. There's probably a class you were supposed to take, a Marine Net class.
Unfortunately, they didn't receive that training.
No.
How much longer do you think it's going to be before your guys have this tent up and ready?
I don't know. I have crayons in the coloring book, but we can go over this later and rectify the situation.
I absolutely believe we're going to need an AAR after this.
I have the coloring books.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to let you get back to it. Look, folks, this is highly developing story. The Marines are putting up the tent. You would think with all the practice that they would be good to go. You can obviously see that it is kicking their ass. I'm going to go back to the studio with you, Chuck, and I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a hand. Hey!
I am Alex Barton. I go by Alex because my dad's name is Joe, but I'm Alex. We both race on USMC here. We're both from Memphis, Tennessee. I was in the United States Marine Corps and unfortunately got medically retired. When I first started, it was just one car. It was Chesty, and he wasn't even, it wasn't even 220. It was 20 back then. Completely different. I think I've been through about 4 transmissions and 3 engines since. Honestly, for me, it's my escape in a sense. Just good to get away. Like it really wasn't even about the racing originally. The whole story how I got into this is a long one. Right, so the story of how I ended up here is actually a funny one. So my dad, who was on the race team, used to race motorcycles. Well, he was more known for wrecking them. On and off the track, he's wrecked about 30 bikes. He's been pronounced dead legally twice. And so the very last one was actually off the track. When he was in the hospital, I told him, man, you gotta stop, riding motorcycles. And I made a deal with him. I said, all right, I'll race cars with you, thinking, his buddies race all these nice Porsches and all these old nice cars. And, never thought he would really call me up on it. Maybe he did, like I said, we raced nice cars. Right. No, a couple months ago down the road, and if you've seen his leg, it's very freakish, but his leg heals up. His compound fracture, it was bad. But his leg heals up. He calls me up one day and goes, hey, I found a race team. They only let me join if you join though. And I was like, what kind of race team is this? Because it's veterans only, but since you're a veteran, they said I could come as long as you go. I said, sure, why not? Then I come to find out it is the most sketchiest racing possible, which is Lemons. And then met Brian and them. Our first race was in NOLA. So basically how I ended up racing was to keep my dad off motorcycles. And I actually ended up falling in love with it.
Oh, that's 5-inch voltage.
about you pulled my
Forget that I'm filming.
I forgot. God damn it. Well, you're right about forgetting you got this thing on, huh? So, wild boar did pretty good today, can't complain. We have a fuel starvation issue, so we're working on that right now. There is a piece that hooks into the Holly hydromat, and it's not fitting quite right, and it's just kind of it's moving around in that socket, so they're back there working on that right now. But overall, did really, really good. Other than that, and a blown 30 amp fuse twice, which is strange. It did really well. I think we turned about 150 laps today with wild boar. All right, so ladder 3, mouth tugged to tire wall again. Its initial showing, it hit a tire wall at about 90 miles an hour and wrecked the entire front end. And then today, brought it in, had to hook up to a truck and pull the core support out so the radiator wouldn't fall out, but we got that fixed. We have an issue with the clutch, where the clutch is mounted up against the firewall. It basically broke through the firewall, so the clutch is just kind of like flopping around, so we got to fix all that. And then we got to repair the clutch. So this is one of the older ones. It's not too bad. So if we can't find a good one, we're going to put in an older one, but they're going to, whoops. I think ladder 3 maybe did 50, maybe. And the thing about it is, this is our newest car. This is a 79. This is a 96. This is a 2011. And it's the car that continuously lets us down. I don't understand it. It's ridiculous. So chassis, which is interesting, are one of our, or really our crappiest car here, is usually the one that does the best. We did 160 laps today, 166 laps today. We're in 10th in B class, which is usually where we sit normally. But the fact that this is usually the car that comes back and does the best compared to our newest car and our car that was purpose built to race, it's kind of annoying, but it's usually the one that performs. Can't complain. 2 laps into the green, our 4th car, our super cheaty Mustang over there, hit the tire wall at probably 100. It got so much air, it spun around sideways, broke the bolts holding the race seat in place. The guy's head smashed into his roll cage and knocked him unconscious and fractured his face. So we probably won't see him again the rest of the weekend. I would say of the 3 years we've been doing this is about how a Saturday night usually looks. So coming in, working on the cars, trying to eat, and all everybody wants to do is just eat and drink. And then form a conga line out in the paddock, just hooting and hollering and having a good time. So.
Living your life, buddy.
Dude, bro, this is what I live for.
This is fun.
This is the best shit ever.
I was FaceTiming with my wife. She's like, oh man, I wish I was there.
This kind of shit is like, none of those people in that car have ever met, right? And they are fucking around, having a great night, like they've known each other for 10 years.
Yep.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, you are one of the best logistics experts I've ever met. I'm not joking.
I've worked very hard.
No, I know you
This
did.
kind of fun happens every single fucking.
So not too bad. We did a little bit of work last night. Chesty, really minor stuff, but that car's great. Wild Boar, we worked on the fuel cell in the back. We had a starvation issue where there was a piece of plumbing wasn't fitted right, so it was kind of wobbling around. Fixed all that. Starvation issues fixed on that. Had a collector gasket that needed to get fixed, so we did that. And then ladder 3, you know, all of our cars are manuals. So the Crown Victorias, they were never meant to be manual. So the firewall was never built up to sustain the constant pushing of a clutch pedal. So yesterday, ladder 3, basically they pushed the clutch all the way through the firewall and broke it. So we went out last night, got some 3/8" plating, drilled it. Now it's all fixed in place, bolted in, and now that car's running better than ever. So far we're doing pretty good. I think Wild Boar has actually just went around right there on the hairpin. So it's doing pretty good. It's a good morning so far.
All 3 cars on the track.
All 3 cars are on the track. Chesty came in because they forgot to put the transponder on. That's typical. That's very typical. I'm Brian Check. I am the founder of USMC Racing. We are a nonprofit that provides functional therapy to active duty veterans and first responders. So what we do, we get active duty veterans and first responders behind the wheel of one of our 3 cars, and we put them in these cars in endurance racing events all across the U.S. As far west as the Rockies and as far east as South Carolina. And what this does, this provides for them what essentially is an adrenaline therapy. They get behind the wheel, they're out on track, they got their foot to the floor, they're having an absolute blast, they come back, they have the camaraderie of their fellow teammates, and whether they're part of their team car or they're the team at large, and they become a different person. They just have a different way in which they come back. They're here amongst their peers and those that know what it's like to be in the Army, an EMT, a firefighter, a police officer, and provides an avenue for them to be a part of something better, something for themselves and for others. So we started with just one car, Old Chesty 220, and it was just supposed to be something fun for like-minded Marines, friends of mine. And we got to our second or third race, and we had a guy come in that no one knew, showed up Thursday, shoulders were up, wasn't really talking to anybody. But by Sunday, you just could not get this guy to shut up. Was just wanting to be around everybody, talking, wanted to make sure he had everybody's phone numbers. And we're like, well, that's kind of strange. Like, this guy doesn't know us. It's something he's like our best friend. Fast forward to the next race, we had a different individual come by, and it was the exact same thing. Showed up, quiet, timid, Sunday, couldn't get him shut up. So I pulled my wife aside and we talked about it afterwards, like, man, you know, this may be able to be something like that's much bigger than ourselves, provide something that is going to really give back to people who need it, whether they know they need it or not. And I pulled together some of my really good friends, and we decided this is something we should do. And fast forward 2 years later, we have 3 cars. We've gotten different people behind the wheel every single time. It's, you know, Hot Shot Secrets is behind us all the way. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. We are making a difference in people's lives every single time they come out.
I would like to start with all the sponsors for USMC Racing. I mean, you got Hot Shot Secrets, you got a ton of individuals that donate money in order to make sure that these guys could get their cars up and running, get them to and from the races. I'd like to personally thank all the veterans that come out here and welcome you with open arms and make you feel a part of the team, and not like you have to earn a position. You already got a position when you show here. And then all the other organizations that helped me over the last few years: PTSD Foundation America, Warrior Built Foundation, Tadpole Foundation, USMC Racing, Combat Marine Outdoor, and numerous other ones off the top of my head I can't even begin to think of. I appreciate what it is. And the last thing that I would say is to all the Americans out there that donate to different organizations. Without your sponsorship, without your support, these organizations could not exist as nonprofits to provide the care and the fun that the veterans end up having. So thank you.
Like I said, we went from one tent to one car to 3, I guess you can technically say 4 cars, and multiple tents, RVs, sponsors for days, a doctor, a team doctor, a team cook. I mean, you don't get much better than that. I mean, especially for Lemons. I mean, there's no other team that can say they have even half that stuff. I mean, we have gear for everybody. You don't even have to bring your own gear. And without Brian, I mean, this wouldn't even exist, man. And I want to say thank you without a doubt, and thank you for letting us be a part of it, letting us come for every race, letting us, you know, messaging us saying, hey, you want seats for this race, and you know we don't say no. So if there's anything we can always do for you, man, just give us a call. We've offered to bring, hell, even a whole nother Crown Vic just to part out and everything. I mean, Brian's got us into the racing a lot more than I thought I would. And I want to say thank you for keeping my dad off motorcycles, keeping his little habit alive and getting that itch out of him, as well as apologizing for his lack of driving ability with a car. He's great with a motorcycle. Motorcycle racing does not transition to car racing. It does not.
For me, this gives me the opportunity to come hang out with like-minded individuals and be able to get back in a race car again. I'm about to turn 50 years old, and it's, you know, it's not something that I could go build a car myself tomorrow and be able to come out. So I can join these guys and get in a race car and enjoy a weekend.
We have any more cars? No, that's it. They already kicked the truck. Yeah, he's up there, coming down now.
Normally when we do these things, it's always about the veterans, it's about the first responders, it's about the active duty folks. We had a total driver pool of, I think, of 19 this time. I think 14 of the 19 had never met each other. Those bonds formed instantaneously, and that's what it's about. It's about bringing what they knew in the service, whether they were in the military or they were serving their communities as a police officer or a firefighter. They come here, they're around people that are like them, that they get it, and then they just continue that on. The rest of the races they come, they be a part of our organization. I'm like stumbling on myself. I just want, like I was telling him, like I want the other 2 cars to go out, come back after 10 minutes, and then get the next guys out. Right. To me, that's like, okay, step 1 is our initial practice session is complete. Let's get everybody else in the car and let's make this happen. So like, that's why I just need to stay out of the way right now. I just want everyone just to do their own thing, and they're doing a really good job.
It's cool how everybody jumps.
This is just the start for me, and they say it's the best race that you could start in because everybody's out here just to have a good time and get out in the track. It's not, you know, that competitive, I don't care about anything but winning mindset. It's about having fun.
It's not something that I could go build a car myself tomorrow and be able to come out. So I can join these guys and get in a race car and enjoy a weekend.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Brian for the opportunity. Just looking around and being a part of this, I can't imagine the amount of stress, the anxiety of getting this all together and keeping this thing going, you know, both personally, financially, as well as just the day-to-day of running this huge operation. Plus he's still active duty. So I just appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm sure it's helping out a lot of guys, including myself. So thanks again for having me out.
If I could say anything to Brian, it would be the same thing I tell Brian every day. Brian Check, I love you, bro.
It's been a pleasure to work with you, alongside you, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far this thing can go. So keep it up, man. We love you.
Just a simple thank you. It's been a blast, and it's been a great experience, and not just to get to race, but to actually represent something bigger than any one person.
Just to see the time that he puts into this, I mean, it's overwhelming to me to think about the amount of effort that he puts in for the love of our organization and the love of helping our veterans and first responders.
I'm really happy to be a part of something that that the organizer truly gets behind.
Everything else in life disappears. I went to Road Atlanta and I had like 80 bucks in my pocket and I needed to pay rent, but I drove to that race because there's everything was gonna disappear. And so.
I know you do this for veterans, but in all honesty, man, for me, it's not just the veteran thing. It's, you know, taking care of my family, and obviously we're all family now, a big part of the family. And I want to say thank you for him for doing that, because I know it's a big order for him. He's got, I don't know how many kids now, it's hard to keep up, but that, and he's still in and everything, and I just couldn't say thank you more than anything for being so accepting of everybody and putting this whole thing, this whole shit show together, for sure. But it's our shit show. We polish the turd the best we can. And yeah, man, it's just amazing.
Good, bud?
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say any of that stuff. So, excuse me, gross. Coronavirus.
These guys love you, man.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what to say after that, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I never really realized what this meant to people until Lane texted me out of the blue one day, and I mean, it was the most appreciative thing I've ever read, really with anything, but it meant a whole lot more because this is something that I believe in, what we're doing. And I probably read that 50 times now. I have it, actually I copied and pasted it into my notes, so I don't have to go digging through his fucking text anymore to go find it. But I've never seen, like I've read the testimonials, but I've never seen that, you know? I guess the faces, the expressions on their faces saying that stuff, that's what makes it worth it, you know? The weekend when it ends is always shitty because everyone is just trying to get out of here. Selfishly for me, I want to make sure my family's ready to go, so that means the trailer's packed, very minimal. It's just like last minute like hugs and see you laters, and then we're gone.
instead of like what happens on Friday and Saturday night, where it's just like a, you know, you're sitting around the campfire, the grill with a beer. You know,
it never ends.
We can't do that on Sundays. So Sundays are always, I hate Sundays. There's always the worst. It always feels like there's so many things left unsaid.